Now, if you don't have an army, what happens? You can't maintain peace. That's why people have got to go to the United Nations to come and defend them. Can you imagine? UN troops in Africa, what are they doing? Defending you. Why can't you defend yourself?
Wow, those are just critical questions asked by the president of Uganda, live from Munyonyo. Why UN troops are in Africa? What are they doing? And if they're defending us, why Africans, we cannot defend ourselves? So dear lovely family, friends, fellow Africans, don't skip the video. If you have answers, please share with us your answers through the comment section, and also share the video to other fellow Africans here in the continent and to those who are in the diaspora. This is the beginning of Africa having our own army. We need Africa's single army. But before talking many things, let us first of all share.
In order to do what? Oh, I will go and generate electricity. But why do you want to generate electricity in Canada when I have no electricity here? Why don't you process it here? I have had a rumor that there are human beings here. So I said goodbye to the group. The uranium is still in the ground. Let it stay there. So this business of raw materials is very, very dangerous. When the British declared Uganda a protectorate after the defeat of our inefficient kings, our kings were hopeless. They didn't organize us to defeat the British. We could have defeated them.
Yes, our kings were hopeless. They didn't organize us, Africans, to defeat the British. We could have defeated them. Those are not my words. Those are words of President of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni. My question to President Museveni and other Africans: what have we learned from this mistake that were made by our chiefs? What are we learning from the history? It looks like the same. We are repeating the same mistakes. Right now, Africa, we don't have our own army. We are not organized. And that's why at the beginning you heard President Museveni asking what UN troops are doing here in the continent of Africa. It's because our leaders are not organizing to have a single army. So without having our own army, UN troops will continue to be here. So we learn nothing from the history. And I don't see the difference between our chiefs and the current leadership. I'm sorry maybe if I'm not speaking in a good language, but that's the truth. We have been talking about unity of this continent for more than 60 years. We have been sharing the issue of unity of this continent, that Africa to achieve, or in order Africa to become strong, to succeed, we need unity in this continent. What our leaders are doing to make sure that we are going to unite. Have you heard Africa Unity Summit? No. But you heard Africa-China Summit, you heard Sustainable Development Summit, you heard Environmental Summit, you heard Water Summit, you heard USAID Summit, you heard Africa Russia Summit, Africa America Summit, Africa US, such kind of things. But we don't have Africa Unity Summit where we can come together as Africans and ask ourselves critical questions. When are we going to unite? That is the question number one we must ask ourselves. So we cannot blame chiefs, but right now we have tools, we have internet, we have good roads, we have planes. Of course, it is very easy for now our leaders to interact, to come together. But have you heard one day that this year we are going to have a summit to discuss about unity. But what we are discussing is sustainable development. Yes, it is good, but when we are going to discuss about our unity, if we don't discuss about our unity, forget about having single currency, forget about having common language, forget about having single army, and these troops that are in Africa, the troops that Museveni have been asking for, what are they doing? They will continue to be here because we are not organized. We are repeating the same mistakes our chiefs did, that they failed to organize Africans to defeat those who came to conquer us. The same today. We have failed to organize ourselves, to form our own army, to protect our people. Now we are relying on the UN. And that's why they are deploying troops here in the continent of Africa. They cannot deploy in an organized country. They cannot deploy in China. If you had US mission or UN mission in China, or in Russia, or in America, or in UK, but you will find these missions in Africa. UN mission in India. Why in Africa? Because we have failed to organize ourselves. So I think this is the right time. And I hope when these summits are being conducted, one day we need to hear that our leaders have said we want to have our own summit. The summit that we maybe discuss about unity. All days we discuss about unity. Just imagine the Europeans during Berlin conference, they sat down for 4 months in Berlin, dividing continent, dividing Africa, thinking if we divide like this, what will happen? If we do like that, what will happen? At the end of the day, they come up with a strategy that is so strong to make sure that these people will never come out from this chain. And yes, we are in the chain right now. Why? Because people sat down for 4 months. So even our leaders, instead of blaming to our chiefs, I know President Museveni is my elder. I'm not just crushing him. I'm just trying to add what he has said in order to change things. That instead of lamenting, let us call the meeting. Let us find the solutions that we have been. Our chiefs failed to defeat Europeans because of this unity. They are not organized. So right now, let us be organized. Let us not repeat the same mistakes our chiefs did. Let us unite. Let us come together. Yes, we have these regional bodies. I think it is not enough. Regional bodies right now, I think they have failed. For instance, you heard about DRC. The Democratic Republic of Congo expelled East African troops. So just imagine, DRC is a member of East Africa, but has a power to expel organization or the East Africa troops. So you are in East African community, then you have a power to expel the troops of East African community. So what does that mean? So it looks like East African community is not powerful. The same to ECOWAS. You remember when Niger took power? ECOWAS said, I'm going to invade Niger militarily. But 3 countries say, no, you cannot invade us. They joined together. At the end of the day, they formed their own alliance, the Alliance of Sahel States. And we must understand what caused all these things. What is the reason behind of all these things? Why we repeat the same mistakes? Right now, people are lamenting that our resources are being taken. We have seen, for instance, in DRC, mercenaries. All of us under our watch, we see mercenaries in DRC. What have we said as Africans? Have you heard a statement from African Union? Have you heard a statement from these regional bodies? But we have been keeping silence. Then we want changes. How changes can come, my dear lovely family? Our leaders, how things can happen in this such kind of condition? We fear. Yes, we fear. But for how long? For how long we continue to fear? These mercenaries are taking resources, are not here to support us. Those are just the truth. They're here to take our resources. Our people are just suffering because of these things. So for how long we'll continue to accept all these things to happen on our watch. That's why yesterday I shared the video. In that video, I quote the phrase of Bob Marley when he asked for how long shall they kill our prophets under our watch while we are keeping aside and look. You see? So I think we need to do something different. And that's why I think this generation, they have a great duty to do. This generation of leadership, President Museveni and his generation, they have done their jobs. And I hope the coming generation, one thing that we must keep in our mind is to unite this continent. Let us, President Museveni, presidents and all other African presidents, Traore and others, think about how can we unite this continent. If you will unite this continent, you will serve this continent. But without emphasizing unity, we are going to repeat the same mistakes. The coming generation will speak the same to you, that what did you do to come together to form a single Africa? While you see our resources are being taken, the coming generation will ask, the previous generation was idiots, were fools. Why? Because they did nothing. How is it possible that the continent of 1.4 billion people with vast of natural resources cannot come together, cannot form a single army? How is it a small country such as Ukraine can feed the entire continent with olive land and water throughout of the year, good weathers? They will ask themselves, what kind of such species of people? They will ask themselves. So now let us move to the issue of value addition. How can we achieve value addition? The thing that is difficult and dangerous. I'm saying difficult, why? Because I know to achieve value addition, we need to have industries. We need to have renewable energy supply. We need to have capital. We need also to have technologies. So these four things Africa is not given. So we have to fight to get capital, to industrialize, to have technologies, and also to have enough energy, renewable energy supply in the continent. Also, I'm saying it is dangerous. You know why I'm saying it is dangerous? We know that Africa is the main supplier of raw materials. Africa is creating jobs to others. So by stopping export of natural resources, adding value, you Africans, it means those who have been enjoying our natural resources, creating jobs through our natural resources, these low natural resources, automatically they will lose jobs. So the things that will be difficult for them to accept. So they will try to do everything to make sure that Africa, we are failing to add value to our natural resources, even trying to destabilize our countries as well as our continent, so that Africa cannot have good environment to build industries. They will sabotage our infrastructures, for instance, energy infrastructures, in order for Africa not to achieve value addition. That's why I'm saying it's dangerous. Even some of us will be removed on the face of the earth. We have seen people such as Patsy Lumumba who tried, but that thing cannot stop us to achieve what we believe we can achieve. And also, we'll get resistance from within. We know that we have Africans who are enjoying with this kind of environment. We have Africans who are importing things from Europe, from China, from America, finished products, cars, smartphones. So when you start manufacturing your own smartphone, first of all, Africans don't believe in Africans. Africa always believe on others. So we need, first of all, to change the mentalities of Africans. Also, we have those who own industries there, outside there, who are getting money through our natural resources. Also, they will try to do everything to make sure that our plan, our mission is not going to succeed. That's why I'm saying it's dangerous. So, but to avoid all of those things and to overcome all those things, it needs unity. Why? Because without coming together, an individual country such as Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Niger, Mali, Senegal, Nigeria. Individual country cannot achieve this. So it needs unity among ourselves. And also, unity will become important that we can speak with one voice. When we can say we don't want to export gold into low forms, all of us, the continent of Africa, we can speak with one voice that right now we are keeping our gold. Maybe we will start selling our gold in June. So we can speak with one voice. But without coming together, we cannot speak with one voice. Why? Because if country A will say, I'm not going to export my gold into low form, country C will say, I don't have money, I'm going to sell. You see, that's where it's difficult comes. If country C can say, have lithium, I'm not going to export my lithium, I'm going to add value. Country A can say, I don't have technology, I don't have money, but I can sell my lithium into low form in order for me to get money to sell, to pay maybe salaries. You see, that's where difficulty will come. So if we can come together, we can speak with one voice. So that is number one. Also, to achieve this thing, it needs economic zones. Let us Africans, of course, economic zones can be created if we can be in unity. So unity is very important because unity drive all of these things. We cannot create economic zones if we are not united. So if we are united, we can create economic zones. We can say maybe West Africa will be the main producer of chocolate that will be sold in the entire continent. We can say Congo has resources. Can be Congo, maybe Uganda, Rwanda, wherever these countries that are in the central part of the continent, they have so many resources, can become the main supplier of maybe critical minerals. They can supply critical minerals. So the main task of those countries will be to supply or to add value to critical minerals, maybe getting smartphones, mobile phones, laptops, something like that. We can use Central as the main producer or supplier or manufacturers of these electronic devices. Chocolate will come from West Africa. Then we have some countries that have oil. We can give them task. Nigeria, you have oil. Nigeria, maybe Namibia, Uganda, Niger, all these countries have oil. We can say, you, maybe 10 or 3 countries, you have oil. Let us produce enough oil for the entire continent. Supply. Maybe country C, maybe in the southern part of the continent, South Africa, let us produce enough cars to supply to the entire continent. So every country can have given, or every zone can be given a task. And also we can mobilize our engineers, electric engineers, civil engineers, all across the continent. They can come together. They can have given tasks. I hope through that we can achieve value addition. But without doing so, without having these economic zones, at the end of the day, we'll find that every country is trying to add value. Country A has gold, country B has gold, country C has gold. So who will buy your gold? So we need to create environment. So at the end of the day, we find ourselves that it is difficult for value addition. So we'll decide to maybe to invite the Chinese or Europeans to come and take those resources. And through these economic zones, we can enhance Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And also through these economic zones, we can give some countries tasks to produce energy. We know there are some countries that have source of energy. For instance, we know that Congo has Inga Dam that can produce enough electricity. We know that Niger has uranium. We can use uranium in Niger to produce enough electricity. Uganda has uranium. Uganda can produce enough electricity to supply, maybe in Congo as well as in countries that are nearby Uganda, in Sudan, South Sudan, you see. Ethiopia has dam, Ethiopia Renaissance Dam, can supply electricity to the region in the Horn of Africa. So industries can start to be built. So that's what I think we can achieve value addition. But value addition can be achieved if we can come together. All those things needs unity. You know, when Kwame Nkrumah spoken about unity, some of us, we are not there. But today, I reflect that Nkrumah was right. Nkrumah and his fellow founding fathers were right. Because I see many things in the continent of Africa needs unity. We cannot achieve value addition without unity. We cannot achieve value addition without coming together. These people will destabilize us. These people will sabotage our infrastructures. Things will not happen. Why? Because we are scattered. Even those who try to initiate these things, some of them will be removed from power. Because we have seen what happened to Libya, what happened to Congo, to Patrice Lumumba, to Sankara. And recently you heard President Kagame spoken very well that he was threatened. Not only Kagame, even Traore was threatened that you will follow the footsteps of Sankara, of Gaddafi. They tried, but where are they? You see? But if we are united, we can say we are going to protect our leaders. And if we are united, we cannot have these borders. We can do business among ourselves. People can produce, can add value, and you can sell it country A, country B, something like that. So we are talking about value addition while we are still having these borders. How can we achieve? How can we achieve? We are talking about value addition. We don't have infrastructures. And to achieve infrastructures, it needs all of us to come together. So you, country A, build railway from point A to point B. And me, country C, I'm going to start from this point to another point. You, country D, you will start from point A to point C. Something like that. That's how we can achieve. But those are just my opinions, dear friends, fellow Africans. Maybe I'm wrong, but all in all, the aim is one, to build the Africa that all of us we want. We are trying to share our thoughts, to contribute what a small idea that we have, few ideas that we have, maybe can add something to our mother continent, Africa. So don't fear to contribute. Make sure that you contribute positive on how we can build the Africa that all of us we want. And of course, I've spoken to President Museveni. I shared my views that Museveni, you are too old right now. Let us guide young people like Traore and others, bring them together and share with them these ideas. How can we achieve a united Africa? Because all these things cannot be achieved without coming together. Africa needs all of us to hold and together, to come together. If you listen, our leaders, they are spoken almost the same thing, but I don't know why it is difficult for them to say, from now and then we are going to unite. We are going to have a united Africa. If Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have succeeded, what's wrong about the rest? So we don't trust one another. We fear one another. That's the problem. About development today in Munyonyo, Uganda. So at the end, you heard the statement of President Museveni that our chiefs were fools. They failed to organize Africans or Ugandans to defeat the British. What's the difference right now between our current leaders and the previous chiefs? Because today, as you heard at the beginning, President Yoweri Museveni said clearly that what UN troops are doing, why Africans we cannot defend ourselves. It's because we have failed to organize ourselves to form our own army, and that's why we depend on UN. So I don't see the difference. But all in all, this should be a wake-up call to all of us, the people of Africa, that we need to have our own army. We need to form a single army, and so that our grandchildren will not refer us as fools, the way President Museveni has referred our chiefs, that they failed to organize people to defeat British. The same right now we have been failing to organize ourselves to form our own army to defend African resources. The children's and grandchildren's will come and ask Africans, what are our fathers, our grandfathers have done to protect resources in DRC? Why they depend on UN troops instead of mobilizing themselves to form their own army? And of course, I remember last year, I shared the video, and yesterday, of course, I repeated the same thing, that I suggested that we have many soldiers in the palace, in the state house. Why don't these soldiers come together and find the way they can mobilize and form a single army for the continent of Africa? But I see that we are just talking, but we are not implementing. So, dear lovely family, friends, fellow Africans, if you have anything, please make sure that you share with us through the comment section, and also you share the video to fellow Africans here in the continent, and to those also who are in the diaspora. So let us now move back to the issue of resources. You heard President Museveni said very clear about the issue of value addition on raw material. That is a big war that Africa is now fighting for. Value addition, all of us, we know, Africans, we know that we are the main supplier of raw materials across the world. Africa is made to be a raw material supplier. So if you want to add value, you find yourself in trouble. You remember some countries were removed from AGOA, some countries were punished because of all these things of trying to add value. So what can we do as the people of Africa to make sure that we are going to add value? Museveni has touched the issue of minerals, that he banned the export of low minerals. But as Africans, as a continent, can we speak with one voice that right now, from now and then, we are not going to export our low minerals or our low materials? Instead, we are going to add value. Can we speak with one voice? Of course, in Sahel, you have seen that those countries, they have tried. Burkina Faso, you remember that Burkina Faso started by banning export of gold, raw gold. Now Burkina Faso is processing its gold. The same to Niger, banned the export of uranium. But are we preparing ourselves to add value to our resources? Just imagine, all of us, we know that we have resources. If everyone can add value, who will buy our products? Because if we are going to cut the supply of raw materials to others, maybe we are going to stop supplying raw materials to America or to China. Remember that these people will deny to buy our products. So have we already created environment where we Africans, we can say that we are no longer going to sell to others, we are going to buy from ourselves? Can we come together and think about that? What I see here, President Museveni is very light, and other leaders we have seen, of course, even the president of Namibia, President Madam Netumbo Ndaitwa, spoken the same thing, that we need to add value. Yes, after adding value, have we created environment where Africans we can buy from ourselves? All of us, we know that we have gold. So if everyone can process his or her gold, who will buy our gold? First of all, I think we need to strategize to create economic hubs in the continent of Africa. We need to make sure that maybe tea in the continent must be processed somewhere where those products will be supplied across the continent. If it's about gold, we must make sure that we have industries where, gold hub industries, where we can process our gold, and from there we can come up with final products that can be sold across the continent. If it's about uranium, let us come together. I know many countries have uranium. Niger has uranium. If you go to Uganda, has uranium, as President Museveni said. If you go to Namibia, has uranium. So how these countries with uranium can do to make sure that they process uranium for the benefit of the entire continent of Africa. So I think we need such kind of summit. We need to strategize. We can speak that we need to add value, but without having a strategy on how we are going to add this value and where is the market, I'm sure we are going nowhere. Those are just my opinions. Maybe our leaders know very well than me, but I think it's better, first of all, to come together, to have our own meetings. I have been suggested this many times that we need Africa Diaspora Summit, where our leaders in the continent, our friends and fellow Africans leaders in the diaspora can come together and strategize how are we going to benefit from these resources in the continent of Africa. How are we going to add value? How are we going to supply products in the continent of Africa? You see, how are we going to make sure that we have peace so that the business can run smoothly in this continent? Yes, we can add value, but we don't have peace. People are fighting every now and then. What can we do? Those are just my opinions on what the President Kaguta Museveni has said. And of course, he's spoken very well. As I said, we have seen leaders in Sahel, they have taken the same steps, but that is not enough. For we Africans to succeed, we need to come together. We need to sit down to strategize what do we need. How can we do with these resources that we have? How can we produce our own cars? Of course, in Uganda is producing electric buses and electric cars. So how can we sell these cars? Because I have seen also Burkina Faso are manufacturing electric cars. Uganda is manufacturing electric cars, and many countries will start producing electric cars. So who will sell to others? So in order to increase the market, we need to find a way how we can choose some countries to be responsible for producing maybe electric cars. Other countries can be given a task to produce maybe charging machines. Other countries can be given responsibilities to produce spare parts, something like that. If we can do like that, I hope we can do businesses. We can beneficiate from our natural resources. Otherwise, at the end of the day, we find that we don't have market, and we'll start the same thing to export our low minerals to others instead of adding value, because we find ourselves we have no market. So let us come together as Africans, let us unite, and also let us see what we can do as Africans. We need Africa Diaspora Summit for our leaders. We need Africa Diaspora Youth Summit, where young people who are below 50 can come together, like Captain Traore, Malema, Doumbouya, Assimi Goïta, and Diomaye Faye. Those who are below 50 can come together and strategize 50 years, 100 years to come, that we want Africa to look like this in 10 years to come, 100 years to come, 50 years to come. We need such kind of summit. You see, how can we revolutionize our education? Are we preparing the coming generation to take the baton? Are we preparing our children in schools to come and add value to our resources? Or we are preparing them to go to Europe? We are preparing them to become job seekers? Or we are preparing them to go to the streets to demonstrate, to protest against governments? Because if you don't create environment, don't expect that these young people will stay at home. They will protest. They will demand changes. Are you preparing them to become good leaders? So those are just questions I think that we need to ask ourselves as the people of Africa. So my dear lovely family, I'm waiting to hear from you also. I'm waiting to share, to see what you have shared with us. So kings and queens, we have still a long journey to achieve what I think we need to achieve as the people of Africa. First of all, the important things is not just providing best speeches or good speeches. The best things is to put our words into actions. Let us put our words into action. Let us come together. Africans, we have been saying the issue of unity for many years. Now it's almost 60 years. Till today, we didn't unite. What's wrong with us? How can we achieve without uniting? And of course, you heard President Museveni talking about Africans, we cannot defend ourselves. Why we cannot defend ourselves? We are not organized. If we are not organized, so what do you expect? How can we be organized? Do you think America will come and organize Africans or British? If they conquered us, do you think they will be happy to organize us? If they divided us, Europeans divided Africa into these small countries, do you think they can enjoy Africans to be into unity? So it's our duty as Africans to know that our salvation is our unit. Our strength is within our unit. Our leaders understand this, but they are not pushing this. Why don't we see the summit of Africa Unity Summit? But we see sustainable development. We see Africa, something like that. I don't see the summit of Africa United Summit, where we can collect the mistakes of our chiefs, our founding fathers, and others who comes before us. So those are just my opinions, dear lovely family, friends, fellow Africans. Up to that, let me say thank you. Have a nice time. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa.